Hey, everybody. It is Sunday at 7 p.m. on February 13th, according to the little clock in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. It's time for Townhall again, Rebuild Illinois' Townhall, where we're going to try and do a best that we can to educate you about the upcoming elections. We have a really good show tonight. We're going to be talking a lot about your county, about what options we have at your county level in finding out who is going to be on your ballot, as well as we're going to do a little bit of something different. I mean, Super Bowl Sunday and all. We wanted to talk about what's really going on while bread and circuses are being shown to all the Romans. We're going to go to Ottawa and bring in some guests from there as well. So stick around. This is going to be a heck of a good show.
Hey, Christian,
this one's all free. Oh. Yes.
Hey, don't forget, we're gonna ask people, are you a terrorist?
Oh yes, that's also part of our upcoming. So stick around. We got to find out if you're going to be a terrorist or not. I think I've been on that list for a long time, just for simply, believing that our Constitution is right. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Guys, welcome to Rebuild Illinois.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rebuild Illinois, where we get to talk about how we, the people, take charge and make Illinois a great place to live again.
Well, guys, here we are. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and none of us are watching the game. That tells you where we are politically. How you guys doing? Ben, it's good to have you. Teresa, good to have you. Tell us what's going on, Ben.
And hey, just to be absolutely clear, I have not watched a single game this whole year, and I haven't for several years because they no longer represent my values. And
oh, man, you are talking. But then again, I never watched before, so it's not really fair.
Yeah, but I've had friends come home covered in that flag that they're protesting, and
right.
I can't stand the thought of what they've done to it.
I know, it's nuts.
Actually the last professional game I have seen of any sport was when the Cubbies won.
Oh, well. I used to work for the Sox.
I only watched like the very last of it.
I worked for the Sox, so I was kind of forced to watch their games, and I actually ended up liking it. I get it. I understand how people get into it, but got to remember, man, they are doing this to us. They are definitely They want to keep you asleep. They want to keep you watching this game. I'm glad there's actually some protests actually happen outside of the stadium, but I want to go into what we're going to call our A block. I hate to use all the terminology, but we have a guest with us today coming all the way in from Canada. Actually, it's somebody that I met about has it been 2 weeks now already?
It's been almost 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
This Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to be 2 weeks.
That's nuts how much time has gone past.
A block is normally we do our intro, talk about what we're going to talk about.
A, B, C, D. 4 blocks.
And then we're out of here.
Now, normally we don't cover a lot of news, but this episode, there's some important things that are going on that we thought it important to talk about. So we're going to address that with you all and give you a chance to hear what's been going on that really ought to concern you.
Yep. So without ado, I want to bring in a guest all the way from Ottawa, Canada. Jeremey Gibson was joining us tonight. Welcome, Jeremey. I know this is the first time you've been on Rebuild Illinois. We are just one small little segment of the union, but why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself real quick? Oh, you're muted, buddy. Kind of hard to do when you're muted, but that's okay. We all have those days. I remember my first day, Jeremey. It's totally cool.
It's been a long day. It feels like this 2 weeks has been a long day. So my name's Jeremey. My life has basically gone straight downhill since the start of this pandemic. I'm a chef. I lost my restaurant. Just lost everything except for hope. And I've been kind of dreaming for something like this to happen for a long time. And so as soon as I heard about it, I came right up here. We've been cooking meals, doing whatever you can just to help out. And then
pretty awesome,
you
man.
guys picked me up on day 3, and you helped me get the word out there. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no, I tell you what, it's interesting that I was actually at Teresa's the first time that we were learning about you. And if anybody, by the way, wants to learn more about Jeremey, we did make him up which corner is it? That corner. We did make him up a little QR code.
What's in the middle of that? Is that a little dinosaur?
It's the dinosaur. It's the Mozilla dinosaur.
Okay.
But yeah, right over Jeremy's head, if you wanted to take a little snapshot of that, you will be able to keep in touch with Jeremey. And trust me, after you hear a little bit of his story, you'll want to keep up in touch with him because he has been bringing us a lot of news from the ground. Oh, good. Look at that. Jen is like, perfect timing, halftime, but before the show. So I guess we're your halftime show, Jen. It's good to have you with us. But Jeremey, go ahead, Teresa. I don't want to.
I think, now, Jeremey, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we're at about 23 days and counting, but from the start of the convoy, which, but they actually got into Ottawa about 16 days ago.
Yeah, you're pretty close. So it's different for a lot of people because in Vancouver, the original starting point, they're on day 23. We all converged on Ottawa 17 mornings ago. So I'm on day 18, if you count when I left home. But 17 days we've been on the ground here in Ottawa.
It's amazing. Well, and so I would say this segment is the trucker protests. So we didn't even segue into it, but that link that you saw down there, I want you all to know that if you hit that, you're going to go to Jeremy's link tree unless you want to type it in. We can actually even pop that into the chat as well, although Facebook really hates when we throw people off of their site. So maybe we'll wait till the end and send that out in chat for everybody. But basically, we're coming close to almost a month here, right? I mean, we're well into. Are we on week 3 now?
We're on week 3, yeah, for sure.
It's crazy.
On Friday it'll be 3 weeks. And honestly, it doesn't seem like we're going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, good for you, man. I just keep the pressure on because what we want to see.
Most definitely.
Everyone down here, we support what you guys are doing. Honestly, I'm a little embarrassed as an American that we didn't do this first. I'm going to just say that right now. That we had to wait for Canada to show us up, but damn it, the most polite people on the world. We want to see.
I was going to say that Canadians they let everything roll off their shoulders. They're so easygoing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met a group of people that are so easygoing, and they don't get riled up about much. Yeah. But they got riled up. So if you've riled up Canadians,
you've done something wrong to piss off Canadians.
You've really done something wrong.
That's actually funny. A buddy of mine, he came in on Friday. He's a truck driver. He's a long-haul truck driver. And they actually pulled their kids out of school. So one of his sons is driving with him in the truck, and Jeff homeschools from the truck. And they were here with me yesterday, and his son is all about this. He's only like 11 years old, and he knows what's going on here, and he loves it. And I was saying to him, I was like, man, we took the Capitol. We didn't touch anyone. And he's looking at me, and you can tell he's registering it, and I was like, no, man, like, we're showing the world how to do this. And
right.
The reason they haven't removed us yet is we're within our rights. They have to break the law to remove us.
Yeah, you're setting. I think it's a fair statement to say that what you guys are doing is setting a bit of a template that is getting a little infectious. I think some other people are going, oh, that seems to be working for them, and it's not just Trudeau shaking in his pants at the moment. No.
It's all the world leaders.
Conversations with President Biden about this very thing, actually, because it's, of course, the next thing we're going to talk about is here in the United States what's going to happen.
So, and I wanted to ask Jeremey a question because he brought up that a child that he talked to. So the mainstream media is putting reports out there that children are being taken away because it's a dangerous situation. So how dangerous is it for the children?
There are. I know the bouncy castle lost a little air this morning. So that could be pretty dangerous.
Right.
Well, hey, keep the truckers off the bouncy castle.
Dangerous environment.
I probably saw, no exaggeration, 10,000 kids today.
Wow.
Just today. I have all of them smiling. They're all over my lives. The parents love to have them in the lives. The parents are realizing there's two big pieces in this puzzle right here in Ottawa right now. That is the locals and the children.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And those are what is going to win this fight. And more and more locals are coming to speak out. And they're saying, hey, we can't listen to this. We can't listen to these lies about you guys. And they're coming to speak out.
Yeah, I was telling Ben, I said that if there's one takeaway from this, and I think Jen actually was the one that said this on her show, maybe it was someone else's show, but the biggest takeaway is that if you've never had a good example of how the media is lying, I mean, here we can see what they're saying about you on a regular basis. It's all over, and you get on the street and it's the opposite.
Yeah. Every time.
When we'll get into detail on our third article that we'll talk about. So
yeah,
let's keep that for then. But yeah,
I don't want to spoil it.
What's happening in media and with the government it's just different from what's on the ground. If you're ever in the military, though, that's nothing new for you.
They're trying to flex because that's all they got. They know that. They're trying to provoke that violence, and we're not budging. We're just there, ready to give them a hug.
Well, I think one of the things, especially with the children, that they're upset about, the reason why they're so upset about children being there and children being safe there is because what you're doing is you're teaching the next generation how to fight back peacefully. Mm-hmm. And how to actually do it in a way that really affects change.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
Last part.
Oh, I was just saying that you're teaching them how to affect change in a peaceful way, but also in a way that is effective.
Yeah, absolutely. We're showing that it works here. We're teaching democracy, and we know they don't like that.
and that we, the people, are ultimately in control.
Yeah, the way we people need to be reminded that we pay the bills around here.
Right. And what's go ahead.
I was going to ask about what percentage of the Canadian truck drivers are involved in this, and how long are they plan? What's the plan on how long to stay? Is there a time frame, or is there until some certain event? And what is that event if it's an event?
Sure. As far as the percentage, I'm really not sure. I know it's growing daily. I will say you don't see very many corporate trucks here. It's a lot of like oil field services, a lot of owner-operators. You don't see any Walmart trucks sitting out here, Amazon trucks, that's for sure. As far as a time, everybody I talk to thinks we're going to be here till March for sure. And everybody I talk to also has the same answer: is we're not leaving until we came here for, and that's the end of these mandates, the end of these vaccine mandates. You want to show us something that works? We're here to listen. There's doctors and scientists that have called out Mr. Trudeau since day 2, and they said, come do it, come be transparent in front of the people, let's debate this, and if you're not willing to do it, tell us why. And he hasn't even responded to that. So we're going to be here until he does.
Now, I've heard rumors that you guys are staying put until Trudeau steps down. Is there any truth to those rumors?
I'm sure a lot of people feel that would be great. I know that's not what we came here for.
Right. Okay.
There was a vice versa.
What was that, Ben?
I was going to say, so that brings up an interesting thing then. What are you there for? Because according to what we've seen, about 90% of truckers are already vaxxed. So what's the issue?
I know myself. I'm here for my son. I don't want him getting vaxxed. I don't want these mandates that clearly are the opposite of what the healthy thing is to do. I want transparency. I want democracy back in my country. I'm proud to be Canadian for 17 days for the first time in 2 years. And,
Amen.
I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I've never seen so many grown men cry and hug each other in my life. And I think that speaks for itself.
So it's definitely not about it's not about coercing you all to take a vaccine that we've heard the statistic is that there's 90% vaccination rate amongst the truckers that are in this protest. They're fighting for everybody else's rights, from what I can tell.
We're pro-freedom, and it is a fact that if you are against us, you are anti-freedom.
Right.
We are pro-freedom for everyone. If you want to wear a mask, you want to stay home, by all means. I don't.
Right.
I'm over it.
We're over it.
Now, how much of this is actually affecting the supply chain in Canada? Are grocery stores and stuff like that pretty much empty? And what kind of feedback are you getting from the people? I mean, I would imagine that's a little frustrating if it's affecting the supply chain.
Well, I will say, as far as the protest in Ottawa, I'm willing to bet, I would like to know some statistics on this. I'm willing to bet that we have not disrupted the supply chain at all. However, in Coutts and in Windsor, where they blocked the border off, you saw how quickly the federal government addressed them. They were addressing them within 3 or 4 days. We still haven't been addressed by the federal government. And that bridge apparently is supposed to open tonight. They had a police line move in today, and the mayor says it's supposed to be open for tonight. They kind of did was take the attention away from us for a few days. It was kind of nice. We had our party here on the weekend. There was no larger police presence here, but we're looking into like the start of the week for
Well, that brings up
we're getting a little worried.
That brings up a side issue that we were talking about yesterday, is that technically it's illegal to block a road or a bridge. And that's the same here in the United States as I imagine it is in Canada. And so we see these arrests happening for doing that, and these threats of huge fines and removal of licenses if they don't comply. But as we talked about, so technically it's illegal, but yet, at least here in the U.S., BLM and Antifa were given carte blanche to do that in many of our major cities, to close down not just a road, but freeways and even city blocks, entire city blocks.
Yeah, I will say too, like everywhere here in Ottawa, there's an emergency lane. We have not blocked any streets. We have an emergency lane, access everywhere. The only people who blocked streets in Ottawa were the police.
I'm sorry, we're who?
So can you say that again, Jeremy? I think we lost you for half a second.
Sorry, the only people who actually blocked the roads were the police.
Police. Okay.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think we just had a little bit of an internet glitch between here and Canada. I think they found out we're talking, and they're chewing on the line.
Sent in the rats.
They've already got me twice.
Right. So
this segues nice into really talking about the Freedom Convoy that is supposed to happen here in the United States, and just what we've been trying to find out is information about that, and maybe Jeremy, you know a little bit about what's been being planned here. And some of the things that we've been hearing is like, oh, they're going to disrupt the Super Bowl, or just a number of other things. And dates are kind of hard to come by as far as when that might happen. Do you have anything?
I was hearing things about the Super Bowl, but obviously that's tonight, so obviously that's not happening. I was just going to check here. Somebody invited me to an American group here, and there was a date. Just give me 20 seconds here. I wanted to say it was for like March 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
That line up on a weekend.
I saw something about a March 1st date or something like that too. But a lot of it is still kind of floating around. I know there's a lot of rumor on that, and I think in general, there is some strategy into what kind of information is being released about this stuff at the moment.
Here we go. It's sorry to cut you off.
No problem.
Freedom Convoy to DC. What's the date on?
Yeah, I've seen an arrival date in DC of 15 March. So obviously it will kick off well before then. And again, it's
the
you're not
actual
talking
start
about
date.
blocking roads. You're talking about truckers driving, and there are other ways to get that kind of attention. I mean, if you drive 10 miles an hour in the city, it's not illegal.
Well, Jeremy, I'm thankful for what you are doing. I'm glad that we've seen a lot of back and forth. Them taking fuel for one day and then bringing it back. We saw the city council. I was going to try and pull a clip, but I wasn't able to pull that up about they are going around and warning people door to door now, which is something you brought up earlier.
They're just in Facebook groups.
Right.
Yeah,
so I mean, they're freaked out. They're absolutely freaked out about this. And I expect the similar tactics to come home here. I really do. But
Actually,
go ahead.
Can I interject? And I want to show you something that I found today.
Sure.
So,
What do
can
you
you
got?
see that? Are you seeing that?
I do not. Where's it at?
Trying to share screen here.
Oh, here we go. You have to add the stream. There it is.
There we go.
What is this? Mostly peaceful. Yes, we have the U.S. media talking about the mostly peaceful Antifa and the far right-wing violent. What did Trudeau call it, Jeremy? I forget.
We're in occupation.
No, but he called it. What was it? A small fringe minority.
Oh, yeah, it's the small fringe minority.
Yeah.
2.3 million people on day one.
Right. Right. So yeah, it's.
I was just here. Like, you gotta think about how many people at home were watching all that stuff across Canada. I don't think the 90-10 statistic is standing. We've only got 36 million people in Canada. So if you say even just the same amount of people at home, that's 4 million. We're already over 20% there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where's your fringe, Trudeau? Where's your fringe?
Those are not numbers I've heard before. That's mind-boggling to actually realize that's 20% being represented.
And that 2.3 million, that was reported by the OPP and Rebel News and another media company as well.
Wow.
And that was on day one. That's just here.
Wow.
And it's growing by the day.
Oh, 100%.
That's good.
100%. I'm seeing friends that called me the craziest names for a year, commenting on my lives like, yeah, hold the line. And I'm like, whoa, nice to see you again.
Right. Good. Well,
there's kind of a unifying theme of this, talking about truckers, whether it's in Canada or here in it. It's probably no mistake that it's being called the Freedom Convoy, because that kind of harkens back to something that we had in our own history here in the United States, and it's something called Freedom Rides. And they're getting kind of the same treatment when it comes to the government and the media. Is that, and for those who don't know, the Freedom Rides were started after the arrest of Rosa Parks in Montgomery, Alabama, and they were designed as a way, it was part of the bus boycott there to fight, to fight segregation. And so, you got right here. Got to pull out, Rosa. Okay, one of my little Easter eggs on my shelf. But they would make up just ridiculous, allegations against individuals, and they try to make what they were doing illegal, though in any other circumstance it was perfectly legal. And in that case, it was boycotting, public transportation because of the way they were being treated, and here's, the same thing. The way that we, the people, are being treated is tyrannical. And so we devise a legal way to bring attention to that. And what does the government do is they look for ways to hammer down on it. So, I you always kind of get on thin ice whenever you talk, relate anything to the civil rights movement in the civil rights era here in the United States. But I mean, there are obvious similarities between that and the way that the government is acting. And the important thing is, like it was for them at that time, the important thing was not giving up until you get the results you want. And it may take a long time to finally arrive at that. And it may cost us something. And if we're not willing to pay that cost, what are we doing? All we're doing is inconveniencing ourselves, and worse, for no result. So please, by all means, I hope you continue. And just know that we're certainly going to be watching here in the States and seeing how it plays out here and how we might be able to support it.
We're really thankful that you guys are setting a precedent, honestly.
One last question. With all of Trudeau's threats of taking away your licenses, what we call CDLs or whatever, and potential arrests, is that deterring any of you?
Well, I was just about to say the same thing and touch on what he was saying. There's my favorite sign here. It's my cover photo. Every time I walk by it, it gets me right in the feels, and it says, "I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees." And we're not going anywhere.
Amen.
Good,
Amen.
good. And, thank you. Like I said, thank you for everything that you have done. We will do what we can to continue to help you. Again, if anybody would like to follow Jeremey in his exploits, check up above a little QR code that will take you to his freshly minted link tree at the bottom of the screen.
I love that dinosaur.
Yeah, the Mozilla dinosaur. Jeremey, thank you for being with us. We're glad that these are going to go. Ben's going to probably segue and start talking about what's happening here in the U.S. with these convoys. But you're doing a great service. Keep it up. We hope to have you back soon.
Absolutely. I'd love to do
Amazing. And we're praying for you, Jeremey, and all the others that are out there in Ottawa and throughout Canada.
I'll be back down there tonight.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.
All right. Okay, so actually, we're going to segue into something that's related, and really, so we more or less need the information that we have about the American Freedom Convoy at this point. Until it gets close to the date and we actually see trucks rolling down the road, I guess it's kind of hard to nail down exactly, the start time or the routes that they're going to take. And part of that is on purpose. They don't want a big government pushback against truckers just enjoying their freedom and trying to rally for their liberties and our liberties to be exact, and it's really, so the segue here is it really gets into the hypocrisy of a tyrannical government. And by hypocrisy, I mean, you can look at the difference between the Chicago Teachers Union and the existing threat against those who would stand for liberty. And whereas the Chicago Teachers Union threatened to shut down education, threatened to remove your children's chance to receive a proper education, there's no repercussions for them. But hey, you hop in an 18-wheeler and join a couple other friends driving cross country, you're an outlaw.
Or
And
worse yet, what else are you? Possibly.
Well,
could
we'll
be
come to
curious.
that in just a moment. But I think we do need to also let people know, not only do we have the one in DC that's going to DC, but there are currently convoys happening right now in Australia, New Zealand, and the United
Yep.
Kingdom.
Yeah, we're glad that this is getting kind of. I think it's great if we can all do as good of a job at peacefully addressing grievances to our exercising those constitutional rights. At least we have those as constitutional rights to redress grievances. Correct?
Well, yeah, and you hold that up against January 6th, which was really a farce as far as how conservatives handle our grievances. By and large, all of our meetings, our social gatherings are very peaceful. We respect the law, and you hold that to the other side. Now you get Antifa, who violently shut down peaceful rallies that they don't agree with. They block out. It was the time you tried to go to Trump rally in 2020. You couldn't get into the stadium because the Antifa was blocking the access. And so what did the police do? They closed it down rather than deal with the violent faction there, which was, the far left.
Right.
Well, in a lot of the events that Ben and I have spoken at over the course of our campaigns, I know Ben and I both would go up to our law enforcement and shake their hands and tell them thank you for protecting us. I've even tried to offer them water, of course, especially on those really hot days because they're in the uniform and in the vests and they have all this gear. And I'm thinking, I'm sweating. And I feel like I'm about ready to pass out. These guys, they've got to be in worse shape. But they refuse to take water from anyone because, there could always be something in it. But
right.
We're always trying to take care of our law enforcement, even when we're out at events. And to call those violent and then turn around and watch Antifa and BLM doing what they do and saying that's a peaceful protest. The hypocrisy is just right in your face. They're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is that now we have another. I mean, let's jump into our next segment here, right?
And so it gets worse. And now we have a government that is looking to silence the opposition party, if you will. And anytime that you see this, the first thing that should come to your mind is tyranny. Okay, anytime that you try to silence a party, that is not freedom. That is not liberty. That is tyranny in the worst sense of the word. Think of Stalin. Think of Mao in China. Think of Hitler. Those are people who should come to your mind when you hear of a government shutting down opposition. And what do we mean? Well, if you could pull up that bulletin.
You want me to go ahead and take that? Or were you going to, Ben?
You want to talk about the bulletin?
Yeah, well, I can start, and you can jump in.
She has some opinions on this thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I've calmed down since I first found out about this. So the Department of Homeland Security and DHS, which is DHS, issued a National Terrorism Advisory bulletin, and the summary it starts out saying the United States remains in a heightened threat environment fueled by several factors, including an online environment filled with false and misleading narratives and conspiracy theories. And other forms.
I like your reading of it, by the way. It's like it's story time with Teresa.
Hey, I have 3 kids. I used to run a daycare. I like to. I've always been putting stuff in, and other forms of dis, and malinformation, which apparently has its own acronym, which is MDM.
That's nice.
Who knew?
I mean, that's good to have.
Introduced and or amplified by foreign and domestic threat actors.
What horseshit!
These threat actors seek to I can never pronounce that word. Exasperate. So societal friction to sow discord and undermine public trust in government institutions to encourage unrest, which would potentially inspire. Now, mind you, we're not talking about actual acts of violence here. Potentially inspire acts of violence, mass casualty attacks. Have we seen that? And other acts of targeted violence conducted by lone offenders and small groups acting in furtherance of ideological beliefs and or personal grievances pose an ongoing threat to the nation. While the conditions underlying the heightened threat landscape have not significantly changed over the last year, the convergence of the following factors has increased the vitality, unpredictability, and complexity of the threat environment. So they give 3 examples. The proliferation of false and misleading narratives, which sow discord and undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions.
I think they're doing pretty good on that on their own.
Yeah, they don't need us. We're just like putting the mirror up going, hey, do you guys see this?
What are the 2 things that they mentioned, though, when it comes to misinformation? It's anything dealing with COVID that they don't agree with.
Or the election. Don't talk about the election. Don't talk about COVID. Well, I mean, we all know it. We're all on Facebook.
We don't talk about
further down. And so, anything about COVID. And I do believe something about, I can't remember which point it was. Ben, do you have it? Which specifically calls out elections?
Gosh, I have some stuff here that I can talk about what the media has been saying about all this, and
I think Ben might be frozen.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. So DHS bullying such as protests could severely disrupt transportation, federal government, and law enforcement operations through gridlock and potential counter protests. But they do specifically mention that hey, if you continue to throw doubt on the 2020 elections, then you are a potential. Is he
frozen on you too?
No, he's not frozen on me.
Okay, it's just frozen on me. Okay, sorry.
It does say under key factors, number 1, and then the first bullet point underneath that. For example, there's widespread online proliferation of false and misleading narratives regarding unsubstantiated widespread election fraud and COVID-19.
There you go.
So there you go, you guys. If you think that we should be questioning the 2020 election or investigating it, or if you question what Fauci says about COVID-19, you are a terrorist.
Yeah, and that link is on the Department of Homeland Security site. This is an actual alert that they sent out.
Now, what has the Biden administration said about the 2022 election?
Right. Nothing.
Oh, there could potentially be.
Well, and one thing I brought up.
Activity in the 2022 election. So they can say it about a future election, but we can't say it. We can't express our concerns about a previous election.
Wow.
But remember, it's okay for them to question the 2016 election for 4 years and talk about Russia, and Russian interference and all of this for 4 years. But it's been just barely over a year in what, 3 months, 4 months since the election? And we're not allowed to say that. It only took a year and 3 or 4 months for them to call us terrorists. And yet they did it for 4 years and impeached our president twice.
I think Ben got disconnected.
Yeah,
I was double checking, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't me, so I dumped out and came back in. I'm sure he'll jump back in here as well. So take a look
at
shocking document.
Christian, did you put that link in the comments for the DHS document?
I did. I'll pop it in again. I think we were having some internet glitches there for a second, Ben. Sorry. Good to have you back here.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
Sorry.
I bumped myself out. I thought I would remove myself from the scenario for a moment and let you guys talk and come back in, but nope. I think they found out that I was a terrorist and they kicked me off.
There you go.
I think that's really what it all is.
You family guy, you're a terrorist because you're
I
a
know.
family guy.
I know. I read my Bible.
God, country, family.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Now you've
The
made me an extremist because we mentioned God. So, yeah, fundamentalists were terrible.
Okay,
So,
are we ready to?
If I could include some things then from, I pulled up some media sources about this very thing. And words that they are using to describe us are things like extremist, anti-vax, disinformation. And here's one quote: American far-right groups on Facebook, Telegram, and other sources have aimed to replicate the demonstration talking about the convoys in cities across the United States. So, when they look to throw any kind of negative label on us that they can.
Right.
When did it become far right to be concerned with liberty? I've stopped calling the far left. They're not liberals. They are anti-liberals. The meaning of the word liberal has its root in the word liberty. And
let's call them what they are. Let's call them Marxists.
Exactly. So I call myself the classical liberal, not to be confused with modern liberals who are anything but liberal, because I am concerned about liberty. And that is my main focus, is the best way that we can live a moral and peaceful life is by pursuing liberty. That's not what the government or the media or the far leftists want.
And let's kind of tackle a couple of those anti-labels.
Sure.
I'm not anti-vax. I am anti-forced to be a guinea pig.
Right.
I don't think that anyone should force it. Actually, you know what? That's not my opinion. That's not my opinion. I am taking that from the Nuremberg codes.
Right.
So your problem really, if they have a problem with that, it doesn't come from all of us as individuals. It comes from the Nuremberg codes. There's a reason why that was established.
Right.
And whatever happened to the whole "my body, my choice"?
Well, it's rules for thee and not for me. That's what it comes down to. Always will.
And we always come back to hypocrisy.
I want to point out we're at 47 minutes. We haven't even touched on counties.
Okay, let's go straight.
My question is this.
Counties?
My question is this, because we had talked about possibly, and I don't know if this is an announcement or if this is, I don't mind talking about it on the show. We were trying to figure out whether or not we were going to have another one on next Sunday, since I would be out of town. But if you want, we can boot that to next Sunday. I mean, I know it's just kind of like in the middle of the mix, or do we want to go ahead and cover it all right now? The county stuff.
I think we can cover the county stuff fairly quickly because while there are a number of positions, honestly, it's fairly straightforward.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah,
That
it's very
sounds great.
basic.
That sounds great.
So
it's time to get local.
Yeah.
Right.
So first up in these, we're not, okay, I just want to let everyone know, we are not going through candidates because we're talking about counties. There's 102 counties in Illinois.
102. I thought
So
there
for
was
each of these
120.
positions, there
Is
would be at
100?
least,
Yeah,
I think it's 102.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here myself too.
You can double check it.
That sounds right.
And so for each of these positions, there should be at least 204 candidates, at least.
No way we can do it.
There's no way we can pull that up.
There is. You guys could give us we could have some benefactor give us $1 million donation, and we'll get someone writing a custom piece of code so that we have that for the state. I would love to do that, but there are organizations that do this, like the League of Women Voters. They do a fantastic job, and we will direct you to those guys. But what we're going to do is educate you on how to find out your local stuff. So, but first we're going to go over those positions. And Teresa, I think that's all on you at this point. I think you and Ben are tag teaming that, right?
Yeah, we're going to tag team that one. So
Okay.
the first one up is the circuit court judge. Now the qualifications for that are very basic. You need to be 21 years of age, a U.S. citizen, licensed attorney at law here in Illinois, a resident of the judicial unit or district that you're running in, and a registered voter. And these are the judges that hear cases at the trial level. Now, just for anyone who's not used to this, you have the trial level where that's where trials happen. That's your first level. If you lose, then you can appeal. And then if you lose that appeal, you can appeal to the Supreme Court. So this is just the basic trial level. So this isn't anything that has to do with appeals. So just wanted to clarify that, because sometimes we do have appellate judges up for election and Supreme Court justices or judges. And now, Ben.
Moving on to the circuit clerk, and these are people who work for those judges. You do not have to be the ripe old age of 21. You only have to be 18 to be a clerk. You also have to be a U.S. citizen, a resident of the county that you are running for 30 days, and a registered voter in that county or the county board district. Duties: essentially, you're the official record keeper for the courts. A clerk, really. What a clerk does, you collect fees and fines. You also issue things such as citations, notices, and summons to appear before court. And of course, you have to be present at court proceedings. So that's all the qualifications that are there. You don't have to do anything special. If you got some good academic credentials coming in from high school or maybe a community college, you can certainly make a very strong case for this. And next.
Okay, we have state's attorney. Now, the qualifications for that are pretty interesting. You do have to be 18 years of age, a U.S. citizen, and a licensed attorney at law in Illinois, and a registered voter. Now, as someone who has
How do you do that at 18?
That's what I was going to say. First of all, most people are graduating from high school at 18, and then you have your 4 years of college, then you have 3 years of law school. So you're talking probably 25, unless you're a genius. I guess that could happen. So maybe some of our homeschool students can graduate at like 12 and make it. Okay, some of the duties for the state's attorney, there's a huge list, but I'm only going to highlight a couple. You commence and prosecute all actions, suits, indictments, and prosecutions, civil and criminal, in the circuit court of the county, which is the lower level courts. And yes, they do handle civil cases. A lot of people think it's only criminal. Nope, they're civil cases. They defend all actions and proceedings brought against his or her county or against any county or state officer in his or her official capacity within his or her county. Gives his or her opinion without fee to any county officer within his or her county. This basically, they are the government attorney for that county. And they assist the attorney general whenever it may be necessary. So the attorney general is like the head attorney over the state. So they assist that person, whoever the attorney general is at that time. They notify complaining witnesses of the ultimate disposition of the case arising from an indictment or other information. For them to prosecute a crime, someone has to come forward and say, hey, there was a crime. That's considered the complaining witness. Oftentimes, it's also considered a victim. So they stay in contact with victims and complaining witnesses. They enforce county ordinances, and they even collect child support payments. So they have a lot of duties. And now, on to Ben.
Okay, staying in the courthouse, but not necessarily in the courtroom, we have the recorder of deeds. The recorder of deeds, again, only has to be 18 years of age, a U.S. citizen, and a resident of the county for 30 days, and also registered to vote. Now, the recorder of deeds is kind of like the clerk in that they keep and record and archive any documents submitted by the public to be recorded. And usually those are things like mortgages, deeds, liens. Lien is like somebody does work against your house and you don't pay them right away. They'll put a lien on your house until it's paid off. So that's what a recorder of deeds does. And usually you'll find that office somewhere in the courthouse though they're not directly, like I said, attached to a courtroom.
And I know a lot about those mortgages, deeds, and the recorder of deeds because we just sold a house. So had to go through that.
I bought several, so yeah, bought and sold several, so yeah.
Auditor. The qualifications are you have to be 18 years of age, a U.S. citizen, a resident of the county for 30 days, and a registered voter in the county or county board district. And again, quite a few job duties, but they're basically the general accountant for the county and the watchdog over all county funds, and they audit county bills. So, when you go through your utility bills and your monthly statements and bills, and you check to make sure all of those charges are accurate, that's kind of what our auditor does for the county bills. So all the bills that go to the county. So we need them. They're pretty important to keep track of your funds because remember, it's not just the county's money, it's your tax dollars. And now on to coroner.
Yeah, getting away from the government building a little bit, but still attached to the county government is the coroner. Now, I know what you're thinking. This has to be somebody with a medical degree, right? Wrong. Okay, again, you only have to be 18 years of age, a U.S. citizen, a resident of the county for 30 days, and a registered voter in that county. Your duties are to investigate and certify the cause and manner of death in cases of violence or undue means. Meaning, if there's some question about how that person died, if they died of a heart attack in a hospital, you're not going to be bothered by it. But, if there's a death like out on the street, you're probably going to do a coroner's report on that person who died. Again, you don't have to have anything. There is something, if you get elected, you go take a course, but essentially that's it. That's all that's really required of the county coroner for elections. Okay,
and next we're going to get into the county board. And the first one is the county board members. The qualifications for these is 18 years of age, U.S. citizen, a resident of the county for at least 1 year prior to the election, and a registered voter in the county or county board district. Now, again, quite a few duties, but they adopt an annual budget for the county. They establish tax rates. So if you don't like your tax rate, you might want to contact your county board member. And they review zoning, planning, and land use matters. And so if you are in a residential area, but you want to have a home-based business and it's something that needs to be zoned a certain way, that's the person you're going to be contacting is your county board members to have them review your zoning. And they also consider appeals in granting or denying certain permits and licenses. So if you've applied for those and been denied and you file an appeal, it will go before the county board members. So they do play an active role in your life.
Okay, and moving on to what is referred to as the County Board of Review, or for Cook County, it's the Cook County Board of Review Commission. And a long story short for this one is it's a long title for somebody who sits on a board and reviews appeals to property tax. And it could be residential or commercial. You bring your case to the board and they will decide on whether your taxes are too high or they were done right in the first place. And again, these are positions that are available for people to actually have an election for and then serve on these boards on a periodic basis. Back to you.
Okay, and we have the county commissioners. Qualifications, almost the same as a lot of those others. 18 years of age, U.S. citizen, resident of the county for at least 1 year prior to the election, registered voter in the county or county board district. Now, what do those county commissioners do? They serve both the executive and the legislative duties. They enact local ordinances and administer those. So it's on the smallest level of our government. They approve budgets, they oversee spending, and they hire county employees. And I think that wraps up our county positions that at least are on the ballot this time.
Awesome work, guys. I learned a few things there. I don't know if I should
We're
be
right
running.
at 1 hour.
I'm considering running for
Now,
some of
that
these.
was-
I know.
Yeah, we actually got through those, and some of these. Hopefully, we demystified them a little bit because, the qualifications. Again, many people think, "Well, I'm not qualified." Well, I hope we showed you that you are darn well qualified for these positions because that's all that's really required. Now, the question is for you and your county. We can't show all of these for every county. So how do you find them? How do you see if somebody's running? And how do you then decide if you're going to run or who do you support? And that goes on to our next segment here. I think I actually I need to share the screen again. So if you give me 1 second, I'll pull it back up.
Sure thing, man. So yeah,
So
it's
essentially,
interesting.
what you're going to do is you go to your county court website, which is going to look something like this.
Here, I'll bring you up in the stream. It's coming.
Yep. Okay, and so this is for Will County Clerk, obviously, and the county clerk is one of those positions where they're actually responsible for the conduct of elections in the county. And so the county clerk will have information that's available for you to look at and see, in this case, who has pulled petitions for those positions. And so you go to your county clerk's website, in this case, Will County, you go to elections, and you can either search for petitions, or in this case it said candidate services. You see petitions there, and it's going to pull it up. And if you scroll down, you're going to find what looks like this. Petition packets, first of all, that you can actually pull one for yourself by clicking on that, filling it, and submitting it. Your name is now added to the list of people who've pulled petitions. You're not on the ballot yet, but you pulled a petition to get your name on the ballot. And then if you look down below that, it says nominating petitions pulled. And in this case, in Will County, there are countywide positions. There's a 2-year county board position, a 4-year term. Essentially, it's all the positions are 4-year, but if one is vacated at the before the 2-year mark, then it goes up as a 2-year term. And of course, the last one is preceding committee person. So if you click on any of those, and let's just click on the countywide, that will pull up a list of individuals who pulled those petitions for those countywide positions we just mentioned. Okay, and of course,
And it's going a little
It's
slow.
still loading up.
yeah, I live in the country. I got to take the bad with the good out here. So I get nice fresh air, creek,
Yeah,
and
and
ducks
chickens.
and all kinds of stuff. Yep, my own fresh
Okay.
eggs and slow internet. So here you go. The individuals in the offices for which they pulled petitions. So you see there are 2 that pulled for county clerk. There's 1 that's pulled for regional superintendent of school, 2 for county treasurer, 2 for county sheriff, 3 for county treasurer, and 3 for county sheriff. So there you can see, well, is there somebody who's running as a Republican or a Democrat? Well, you now have the names. You can now start to do some research to see, are these people somebody that you can support, or do you need to get your name on that ballot?
Yes. And just a little note, Ben is so wonderful. He lives in Will County, and Will County is one of those counties in Illinois that really has their act together.
They really do.
They really do. Their
It's-
website
it's-
is awesome.
It's Will County's fault that I'm back into politics and I don't even live in their county. So,
And the sad thing is, Will County is putting all the other counties to shame because their websites are just not as good. And there are some that are so terrible, it's just like one page, and there's no information for you to pull. So Will County is definitely, if you don't like how yours is, get to your county board meetings and tell them that you want a better website that's more accessible so you have the tools you need to know what's going on.
there's some other things I wanted to point out as well. There is an association of county board members. There are county lists that you can pull off Wikipedia. Find your local county Republican Party site. It's gonna differ from county to county. I wish I could say there was a blanket answer for all of you, but there's not.
And be careful when you're doing a Google search. For instance, we found out yesterday during our meeting, don't pull up Adams County
Republicans.
whatever.
Right. It's Colorado.
Because
Adams
it came
County,
up as Colorado. You have to put in like Adams County, Illinois, Republican Party. So make sure you add in that Illinois because you can pull up a county from a different state.
That's how you get this one over here.
Woeful websites. That's kind of what we're talking about. Is some of these party websites are the ones that are like one page. Government websites should never be. They should have all the information that Will County.
And this is a beautiful website. Yeah. This one's a beautiful website for Adams County. I just could not figure out. I mean, I'm looking in the government tier. I don't know specifically where they would have to go, but the best thing I think that you can do isn't necessarily go to that, but find somebody who is in the GOP in your county, or find your precinct committeeman. Right? We're going back to this, and they should be able to provide you this type of information. So, reach out to us. This is a perfect opportunity for us to bring up one piece of information. I have to go back into our other banners here. Go back to our original banners. Do us a favor. Join us on Telegram. If you can't find that information, we will get you connected with somebody in your county and make sure you find that information. That's the key here. Or you can drop us an email at our Gmail address, which is rebuildillinois.org@gmail.com, and we will do what we can to get you in contact with someone within your county that can help you find the information you need about those on your ballot. So, and again, we are working on this page.
Now,
that is getting updated.
And
Go ahead,
Ben.
Keep in mind, at this point, okay, talking about running for office, we've already said that it's almost too late, and really you're going to be hard pressed at this point. So if you pull that petition, please don't waste time in getting those. Now, for those of you,
we're in the 11th hour right now.
Yeah, those of you who might pull for precinct committee person, gosh, you can get those in like 1 minute, 1 hour, or maybe 2 hours. Because, like, for Will County, for a precinct committee person, I have to get 7 signatures. Okay?
And you and your wife count, so you're down to 5.
Yes, so I'm down to 5. Well, my son actually turns 18 before the election, so that's a third. I got to get 4. So you have time.
How many adults at your neighbor's house?
Right.
2. So I'm down to 2.
Yeah. Simple and easy.
Yeah, so precinct committee person is pretty easily. You're not past the time yet. You can go do that at least to get started in politics, and that is a great place to learn about being involved. At a level of responsibility within the political arena. But please do your homework. Visit your county website and that election website and.
If you need help, reach out to us.
At this point,
Yes. And I just want to make one quick statement. We've been talking about doing campaign finance, but due to some of the critical news items, especially about these convoys and stuff, because we do have one coming here. So we wanted to at least talk about that so that to get stocked up on critical items. We will cover campaign finance in a future episode. So we're just tabling it for a little bit because we're already over our 1 hour.
Sure.
Are you guys ready to move on to
our D block?
Yeah.
we pretty much hit everything in the D block except the
Just
last
about.
two.
Yeah.
I would say that if you're circulating petitions, now's the time to wrap it up and get those petitions to the candidates. Definitely, again, contact your county Republican chair to see what positions are open and how you can help. But seriously consider running for county offices and even local beyond there. But as far as statewide or federal offices, now's not the time to jump in. It's already, you're not going to have enough time. But also consider signing up to be an election judge or a poll watcher, because those are what we're going to need as early as the primary. And then again, for the general election. And contact those candidates that we've already told you about and ask them how you could volunteer on their campaigns. It's time to get moving. This is critical time. Every day, tick-tock, we need to get going. So let's get going and help these candidates make sure they can get on the ballot, make sure that they get their viewpoints out, and that the other voters are aware of who they are and what they stand for, and that they do stand for our values.
That sounds good. So at this point, the last thing we need to say is we are taking a break next week.
Yep.
We will be looking forward to getting back with you again in 2 weeks' time, and you can expect that we'll be ready to go with lots of good information to share with you. In the meantime,
that will be February 27th. Where we're back with Townhall number. Actually, I may think we're going to still cram something and call it Townhall 21 so we don't lose count, but it won't be this live thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Then keep in mind now, hey guys, if there's something that you want us to address, especially if there's a news item that you want some kind of even-keeled perspective on, because we're not here necessarily just to give you all that far right-wing extremist news, but to give you the truth. Please, by all means, reach out to us, ask us to address it, and if we can, we will.
And if we use any words that you ask yourself, what is that? What do they mean? Let us know, and we will further explain it. Remember, Ben and I have been in this for quite a while. So sometimes we forget that people don't always know what a lot of these words are. But some of us, we put the three screens out there. Some of us are going on vacation, and some of us are doing staycation, I think, for this week. Yeah. So remember to pray for safe travel.
Yeah. If I don't make it back, it'll be warm where I'm going.
All right, thanks, guys.
Some of us still have snow.
Yeah. We're glad you joined us. Again, we will keep you guys up to date on our site as well as on our Telegram channel. Thank you for joining us again for another wonderful Rebuild Illinois, and stay free. That's all I can say. Stay free. Take care, guys.
Alive and well, I'm wide awake. Won't take your brand, I'm not your slave. You serve your God, Lord of the flies. I pity you and you mean mine.